Doherty from Gnauflins. Welcome back to the Gnauflins Fundamentals e-course. In this video I'm going to show you some really easy muffins. The special thing that we're going to do is we're going to soak the grains ahead of time. The purpose being to neutralize the phytic acid, which would bind with minerals in our digestive tract if we didn't take care of it. So these muffins are going to be extremely nutritious, but they're also going to be very tasty, and you'll also see how very easy it is to make the extra step of soaking your grains. Now the first stage of these muffins, the soaking stage, needs to happen a minimum of 7 hours before you bake the muffins. Usually that's the night before, in my case, and I think for most people. So if you want muffins tomorrow, you start soaking them today, okay? So in this bowl, I have 1.5 cups of whole wheat pastry flour. Please be sure to refer to all the ingredient notes that will precede each lesson so you'll find out more details and particulars about the different ingredients that we require. So this is 1.5 cups of whole wheat pastry flour. I have 1/2 cup of thick rolled oats here. Lost one. And to this, if you remember back to the soaking whole grains when we cooked up our rice lesson, we add an acid. I've got raw apple cider vinegar here. This could also be whey, lemon juice, buttermilk, kefir, yogurt, kombucha. Any of those acids will work. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of acid. So add that. And then we need some liquid, something wet, to make this all fluid and to distribute the acid among all the dry ingredients. So what I used was 1 cup of raw milk. You have the option of using any kind of milk, raw milk, or you could use coconut milk, homemade almond milk. You could even use water. The milk will give a richer taste, richer flavor. So here's the consistency we're dealing with. It's pretty thick, and I'm just stirring it to get all the dry bits on the bottom wet. Basically, it's just a stir to incorporate. It's time for the soaking, where you just leave it alone. See how easy that was? So I cover it up to keep dust and bugs and things out, and I will set it aside on my counter for a minimum of 7 hours, but even up to 24 hours, whatever is convenient for you. I've got a batch here of muffins that have soaked overnight. It's time to turn these into delicious, yummy muffins. Can't forget to preheat the oven, which I've already started doing, 375 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to start by taking some eggs, and there's 2 eggs here, and here's a 1/2 cup of rapadura, which is an unrefined sugar cane. Whisk that together. Uh-oh, I forgot to add a teaspoon of vanilla. That needs to be whisked in right here with the eggs and sugar. When that's whisked, I'm going to take 1/2 cup of melted coconut oil. Now this is warm, I melted it, and these are, well, the eggs were cold. They came out of the fridge, so I'm going to whisk while I pour the coconut oil in, because I don't want the eggs to cook. Just whisk that together. Try not to splash too much. That can wait just a bit. To this, the soaked oats and whole wheat pastry flour, I'm going to add my dry ingredients, which was salt, baking powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger. I just cut it in just a little bit, and then it's time to turn this paste into muffins by adding the wet ingredients. To the dry ingredients, which the dry ingredients are not very dry, but we can call them that for this recipe. Now, the main goal here is that you have this paste, and then the eggs, sugar, coconut oil mixture, and you've got to break up these clumps of paste. So when you're first stirring, it's just kind of smushing those big clumps to get it mixed together and make the batter consistent. As I continue to stir this, the consistency of the batter is going to become consistent. I think you're really going to like these muffins. It's a great basic recipe that can be adapted for many spices, many add-ins. So here we've got our nice consistency muffin batter, and for my add-ins I'm adding shredded coconut a half cup and raisins a half cup. You could add half cup of chopped nuts. You could add half cup of shredded apples or carrots or zucchini, whatever you'd like to add. Other dried fruits, go ahead and work that in. At this point, we just want to mix until barely combined so that the add-ins are mixed throughout, but we don't want to over stir and toughen up the batter. And these are ready then to put in our muffin tins. Then we move this batter into the paper-lined muffin tins. It's a good idea, well, at least in my kitchen, because my muffin tins are aluminum. That's why I like to use paper liners so that my food doesn't touch the aluminum. It makes it a doable, or at least a workable solution than running out and trying to find different muffin tins, because I invested in these quite a while ago, and if you can make something work, there's no reason to change it. This recipe makes, as I make it, makes about a dozen muffins, as you can see. It's a great recipe to double or triple, and then you've got about the same amount of effort and plenty of muffins to stick in the freezer for a week's worth of snacks. These need to go into the oven. Remember, it's 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes. It's been about 22 minutes. These have got a nice browning around the edges, and the quick test is to stick a toothpick down in, and if it comes out pretty clean, then the muffins are done. And these are clean. Transfer these to the cooling rack to cool all the way, and air can circulate all the way around them. You won't want to eat them quite yet. The muffin will stick to the paper, but about after 15 to 30 minutes, when they've cooled significantly, the muffin will hold together and not stick to the paper. These should be stored in an airtight container. If you don't plan to eat them within 2 or 3 days, I'd say 2 days, put them in the freezer. You freeze and it locks in the freshness, and when you thaw, it's just like the muffins were fresh baked. Put them in the toaster oven and warm them slightly, put on a slab of butter. It's just fantastic.